What's going on, Miami Dolphin fans? Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, and coming up here on today's show, I'm going to give you the latest injury news around Tua Tagovailoa, the Miami Dolphins, and we're even going to break down the Baltimore Ravens because you got to keep your friends close, but your enemies a little bit closer. So I understand that Miami is coming off a win. Baltimore also is coming off a win, and they're currently sitting at 6-2, and the Dolphins are at 2-7. Now, I always tell fans that even if your team might be struggling, and it's just got to face reality. Miami obviously is not having the season that they were hoping for, but this is definitely a very important time to continue to be able to watch football. That way, when you go into the offseason, you know what your team's biggest needs are. You know what they should be looking for in free agency, in the draft. And despite not having the year that most Dolphins fans were, inspiring to have after a 10-6 record, this is still a very important time of the year to be able to tune in and watch every single game, every single snap, and be able to take away your analysis. So what you guys are going to be seeing here is I'm going to go through all the Miami Dolphins injuries. I'm going to go through all the Baltimore Ravens injuries that ended up showing up on the Wednesday injury report. Obviously, the biggest one, the one that is by far the most glaring, is Tua Tagovailoa. I'm going to tell you whether or not he's going to be playing in this game from top to bottom. The last time I checked the odds in this game, the Ravens and the Dolphins, it was 7.5-point favorites for Baltimore. The over-under in this one was actually set at 46.5. So here's my question, and most people are going to be like, dude, this is a Dolphins YouTube channel. Why are you even asking me who you got, MIA or BAL? And I usually say this on a lot of shows. When we do videos like this, you're going to get a few Ravens fans that come across the show. They might heckle you a little bit in the comments, but stay proud, stay true to your team. So let me know who you got, MIA for the Miami Dolphins or BAL for the Baltimore Ravens. All right, the next thing that we got here is the Dolphins injury report, and what you guys see next to him is the player, the position, and then ultimately if they're going to be playing or not. So Jerome Baker, he's been a limited participant. From what I've heard, he's going to be full participant, He's going to end up playing this game. Brandon Jones also sounds like he's going to be going. Elijah Campbell, he's been a limited participant literally every single day in practice this entire week. I'm not 100% sure if he's going to be able to go, but the major injury is obviously to quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, who ended up missing week 9 with that middle finger injury. It's fractured at the current juncture. Flores continued to said all week that Tua is day-to-day, and the more and more reports that end up coming out, I don't know if he's going to be exactly a game-time decision, but he's going to go out there before Thursday Night Football. He's going to see how his hand feels. He's going to see if he's going to be able to, throw the ball to his liking and to the coach's liking as well. So, that's really the main focus here. Are you going to have Tua out there? Are you going to have Jacoby Brissett? But here's my question. Obviously, it was the Houston Texans, but every team in the NFL being able to win a game, look at the Bills. The Bills just lost to the Jags. If you don't show up every single week, you can get beat. And for anybody out there who doesn't think that the Dolphins can beat the Ravens, you haven't been watching football much this year. But do you want Tua to play on Thursday Night Football? I want you to type P for play or S for sit. I'm just simply going to go ahead and say rest him. You got to make sure he's 100% healthy because the last thing you want is for Tua to get injured yet again. If this was just some random quarterback who has never had any injury histories throughout college, throughout his short time in the NFL, then maybe you rock and roll with him. If you're fighting for a playoff spot, maybe, again, that's another opportunity for you to throw him out there. There's not much to gain. There's everything to lose. So I'm going to go ahead and say you rest him, which means it's going to be Jacoby Brissett back in the saddle, likely going to start Thursday Night Football. His record this season when he has started games is 1-3. The fact that Tua is going to be that game-time decision, it does sound like when you talk to, when you listen to a lot of coaches talk, they've been, we'll say, optimistic around Tua maybe being able to go, but I think that's really just them trying to put up a smoke screen for Baltimore. That way they can't 100% game plan for Brissett. Now, last week, Jacoby was, basically what you're going to get out of Brissett. He was 26 of 43, 244 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. This entire season, he's been all right. He's got 1,127 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, that completion percentage at 64.4. The biggest issue with this offense has been, whether it's been Brissett, whether it's been Tua, the offensive line hasn't been able to block, and they haven't really been able to stretch the ball down the field. So when you look at Jacoby, when you look at Tua from top to bottom, I am genuinely curious on how you guys fall on this one, and I know I'm going to get some triggered fans in the YouTube comments, and that's part of what we do here. Who's the better quarterback? I want you to type TT for Tua Tagovailoa or JB for Jacoby Brissett. Now, one of the cool features that we have, I'll say, on YouTube is the ability to be able to ask people questions. Now, obviously, you guys see the YouTube comments here, which you see, but we also have these really cool things. They're called YouTube polls, and I posted this YouTube poll, was it yesterday, just to kind of see what kind of, answers I would get, the voting overall I would get, and this is what I ended up getting. 89% of the people ended up voting for Tua Tagovailoa. 11% of the people voted for Jacoby Brissett. Now, I also would have voted for Tua, but I actually do think it's a lot closer than what you have here, simply because the fact that Jacoby's more reliable and he's able to be out there on the field, Tua's injury history is going to start catching up to him a little bit. But having a serviceable backup like Jacoby does make a very, very valuable position. But one of the things that I love doing is a lot of people don't realize that we do this, but we always look at the YouTube comments, and especially when I saw this poll, I'm like, dude, I can't wait to pull some of these YouTube comments. So I found 5 of my personal favorites, and we're going to run through them real quick. I got Greg L., so he was responding again to that poll, which was 89% Tua, 11% Jacoby, and that's what all these comments are going to be. How is this even a question? Is there another Jacoby Brissett in this league I'm aware of? It definitely got me to laugh. I think I actually had the most likes as well. Kelly Warriors, send Tua to Seattle. We could use a young quarterback talented and ever-improving quarterback. Tua fever is alive and well here in the Northwest. Well, if you think so, hey, you can send Tua, but they're not going to be interested. Steve Ely, at least Jacoby Brissett will play in the game. Tua is too injury-prone. Should have never been drafted by the Dolphins. I'm going to guess he voted for Brissett. What about Odarius? What up, man? The 13%, so at one point this was 13%, that voted for Jacoby is either his family or friends or people so blind they need to just stop watching. It's not even close. Okay, and then here's the last one, which I don't know where we're going with this. That's like asking, do you want squash or beets for the game time menu trash? So are you saying the fact that you got to pick between Tua and Jacoby Brissett is like somebody asking you, what do you want to eat for Thursday Night Football? And people are like, you either can get squash or you can get beets. For the record, I'd probably would pick squash. Now, to make sure you guys stay up to date on the Dolphins, I love what we do here on all of our Chat Sports channels. We're interactive. We like to have a good time. So for free videos that, guess what, you are going to have opportunities to come on the show as well. Hit that big red button that says sub. And for those of you that don't know, I like the number 365. I kind of consider it, my brand. So we're 365 subs away from 18,500. Let's get there before the next week's game. All right, what about the Baltimore Ravens? Let's talk about their injury report. You're going to see their main receiver, Marquise Brown. He's going to be playing. Nick Boyle sounds like he's going to go. Patrick Mekari, and then Sammy Watkins. I'm actually not 100% sure if Mekari goes. Watkins has a better chance than Patrick, but the guy that I'm going to talk about here is Brown, simply because over the past 2-3 games, realistically, maybe even 4 or 5 since he had all those drop issues, he's been much better. 46 grabs, 682 yards, 6 touchdowns. I don't know if it's going to be X. I don't know if it's going to be Byron, but somebody needs to slow this man down, because if he's catching long touchdown passes, it's going to be a long, long Thursday night. What about some other injuries to break down? Brandon Williams, he's questionable. Tavon Young, their cornerback, he's not going to go. And then Latavius Murray also is doubtful in this game, which means, obviously, you got to worry about Lamar Jackson. He leads the team with 600 rushing yards, but they've been using 2 old veteran running backs, Devonta Freeman and Le'Veon Bell. Freeman last week, 13 carries, 79 yards. He's averaging 6.1 yards per carry. Very impressive number. And then against Le'Veon Bell against Minnesota, he had 11 carries, 48 yards, and a touchdown. Do I really think that both of those backs are all that great? No. But Minnesota's defense, also not too spectacular. It's just teams have to pay so much damn attention to Lamar, which definitely opens up some things for these young running backs. Now, remember, y'all, if you want to go ahead and bet on this game, the over-under, again, is set at 46.5. The Ravens, minus 7.5 favorites. If you're sitting there like, dude, it's Thursday night, they got a few key injuries, it's at home, you can go ahead and you can bet on the Dolphins at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Dolphins 125. It's going to get you 125% deposit bonus. If you put down 100, you get $125 for free. But remember, you got to go to chatsports.com/bet. Got to use promo code Dolphins125. If you're wondering, you know what, Mitch, I don't want to bet on the Dolphins. It's okay. I don't blame you, if I'm being honest. But here's some of my Week 10 picks. I got the Rams minus 4.5 at San Francisco. Give me the Raiders, Kansas City over 52. Falcons plus 10, Patriots minus 2.5, and Buccaneers minus 10. Now, what about some Dolphins keys to victory here? I really think if you have no turnovers, you have an opportunity to beat Baltimore, but if you turn over the ball, sorry, I don't think you got a chance. You got to target Waddle and Gesicki a whole bunch. Those are your top two players. Get your tight ends involved. Baltimore is the second worst team against tight ends this season. So I'm telling you, pepper Gesicki with some targets. And then you got to play quarterback spy on Jackson. He's going to get his numbers. He's going to be able to put up some stats. As long as he doesn't have one of those just redunculous days where you're looking at the stat sheet, you're like, this guy's an absolute freak in nature, you at least have a chance. Now, before I give you my 3 Dolphins MVPs, I want you guys to let me know, who do you think are going to be the 3 players that stand out the most on Thursday Night Football up against the Baltimore Ravens? My 3 names to watch: Jaylen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, kind of like I said before in my keys to victory. They're your 2 best players on offense. Get them involved and get them involved quick. And then Emmanuel Ogbah. Ogbah had 2.5 sacks last week, has been a pretty solid pass rusher over the last 2 seasons for this team. I'm not saying he's going to be the one that plays quarterback spy, but if I'm Miami, I'm saying every single time, just pin your ears back and go get Lamar. Now, one more time, y'all, if you haven't gotten the opportunity yet, give me your score predictions. Predict it. Ravens going up against the Miami Dolphins. Yesterday, I said 34-20 for the Ravens. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to end up sticking with that. If I am wrong, please come and heckle me. Instagram, Twitter, Mitchell Renz 365.